Okay, guys, so today we're doing something that I've never done before. We had back-to-back podcast interviews. Yesterday we featured Dr. Aaron of Squat University, who's a great guy and has been putting out some great stuff on different social medias. So if you haven't checked out that one, make sure that you jump on to yesterday's episode 841, and get the good interaction that we have going on there. Okay. Today we're featuring Dr. Ryan Debell. He's the founder of the Movement Fix. This was an interview I was supposed to do a couple weeks ago and actually recorded a couple weeks ago, but I had some computer issues and we had to end up re-recording. Dr. Ryan is actually he's a chiropractor and also has a master's degree in sports science. And as the founder of the Movement Fix, he also concentrates on the health and performance of functional fitness athletes. I will paste his information below, so make sure if you like all of his stuff, check out his information below and check out everything that he's doing. That being said, guys, I hope that you sit back and enjoy the next hour of interaction. All right, so we got Dr. Ryan Debell. Welcome back to the show. Actually, for the viewers, this will be the first time that that you're getting heard, because I accidentally deleted, or I don't know exactly if I deleted it or somehow it got lost. All right, it's all my fault. It got lost, and we lost
I hope it got
priceless.
lost.
We lost your priceless content. So we need a reintroduction, okay? Just so everyone knows, this is the man behind the Movement Fix. You might have seen his like lime green. That's how I like distinguish you. It has nothing to do with the words that are on the sides of your thumbnail. I know if I see lime green, that's you.
Do you think that was an accident?
Oh no! Everything you do is so calculated. You're like Morpheus.
That was actually my intention originally, believe it or not.
Really?
Well, think about this. When you think of UPS, what do you think of?
Shit brown.
Brown, right?
Yes.
Anyways, having a color. That's what I wanted, though. That makes me happy that you see the green and it makes you think of me. And I hope that you actually lost our previous conversation. You didn't delete it.
You know what
I think
happened?
you lost.
Here's what happened. It's like, so when I record all these, they go into this like saved calls file. And when my computer crashed, I got like 99.9% of it back. And I was worried about so much all that other shit. I didn't even realize that the saved calls file was missing.
The point one was our one conversation.
No, there was a couple.
Did you have a bunch in there?
I had Perry, Perry Nicholson.
Perry's a great guy.
Yeah, his is gone. So I got to contact him and try to set something up with him. Who else? There was somebody else that was on there. There was three, and there was you, Perry Nicholson, and doesn't matter. Nobody.
Well, I'm happy to be back, and I bet this will be better than the first one actually, because the first time we hadn't met.
Right. Oh, we're so deep now. We're like dating.
We're so deep. I was in your we hung out in your in the RV.
We did. We hung out in the RV. Dude, do you have a beer? Did we have a beer together? But either way.
Well, you may have had, I do not enjoy beer.
Oh, you're one of those.
It just doesn't taste good in my mouth. Like I have weird compilation of taste buds.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't know. Anyways, that's
so
a whole different.
What do you like to drink? What's your choice?
I like Pure WOD. Use coupon code TMF.
Good. I like that.
I enjoy a nice white wine.
All right.
And I also enjoy a nice gin and tonic, a nice piney gin and tonic.
Do you know the girliest drink that I've had recently? I feel very, very girly when I drink this, but I love it. So
wait, do I get a guess?
Yeah, go ahead. You're not gonna guess.
A mojito?
No, mojitos aren't even girly. I love those. They're so manly. Makes me want to go down to Cuba and do the what kind of dance do they do down there? The
I don't know. I've never been there.
Tango, right? Isn't that what it is? Anyway, to get back to it, what I was saying.
getting sidetracked.
what I was saying is, so they make black water, like the black water, right? It's like infused with carbon and stuff, like charcoal and all that stuff. So it looks like a bottle of water, but it's strictly black, right? So they make lemonade out of it, and then I put vodka in it. There you go. So it's like a vodka lemonade, but it's black. I feel very
That's girly.
I think so.
A
like
black
vodka
lemonade is okay.
I just want you to judge me and stop judging me. I could tell. I could look at you and tell.
I was actually just reading your shirt say Workhorse as you're telling me about the girly drink that you drink.
Yeah, so there's this awesome company that that sponsors me. They're called We Are All Smith. This isn't a plug for them, but they are awesome. So
use coupon code WODdoc15 to get 15%.
No, I have. Listen, they sponsor me. They hook me up with shirts and stuff like that. They're a great company. I get nothing from them. I get no coupon codes. I always said I wouldn't do that. Like, I feel it's just not for me. I don't want to shit on people that use it. Like, how everybody's like, oh, they're sponsored by this and sponsored by that. Use coupon code this.
Right.
I'm just not into that. Yeah. I'm not saying that that's not for other people, just not for me. So I don't want anything from them. I just think it's cool that they send me shirts. I got to put on shirts anyway. But they have awesome shirts, and this is one of them. Workhorse, yes. Sometimes I think that they can improve on the fonts that they pick. I don't love all the fonts though.
Are you a font connoisseur?
I have been ever since I've been out to Kuwait this last trip. I became very familiarized in Photoshop. I've been downloading fonts. I have 1,000 fonts now. Before I had 3.
333-fold increase.
Yes, at least.
In your font database.
All right, so let's talk about you. This has been it's been 15 minutes of nothingness. So let's talk about the Movement Fix. Tell me what it is. Besides lime green, if you see lime green out there, that's the Movement Fix. But tell me what that is first of all, and a little background, little history about yourself.
Sure, and just for your Photoshop knowledge, my hex lime green code is 56D22A. If you wanted to know the exact
listen, you're gonna have to text me that, and that way, I can make it lime green for you tomorrow when this goes up.
Can't tell you how many times I've typed in that hex code.
Really?
So, of course, I mean you got to you got to know your codes.
Oh, I don't know what I was thinking. Back to you. Yeah. Come on. You're,
so the Movement Fix is my that's the umbrella for everything that I do, under which I do everything. So, for example, I essentially have 3 things underneath that umbrella. I have my physical practice where I see patients. I have my workshops, the Movement Fix workshop. That's what I teach, my full day workshop, where we look at squatting, deadlifting, overhead lifting, and assessments of those lifts, things like that. And then I have what I would consider my sort of online business, which would be my blog, my videos. So I do videos every week. I don't know how you do it every day. So I do it every week. So I'm 1/7 the workhorse that you are. And then I do a podcast once a week as well. And then I also have a couple of things that I sell online. Like I have a recorded class that I sell, and I also made a guide on how to properly perform bodybuilding lifts, how to perform and coach 70 different bodybuilding lifts, because I think that we're going to see in CrossFit type environments more and more and more. We're going to see more people doing hypertrophy training as they get a lot of people get overuse injuries after a couple of years of doing CrossFit, because they are working the very high rep ranges and they're working the very low rep ranges, and they're never working the mid rep, 8 to 15 rep ranges.
Right.
So I was like, I think we're going to see more and more and more of that. And, some people are not familiar with those lifts. Some people are very familiar with those lifts. So anyways, John, do you know John Russin?
No, I never got introduced, but
I'll introduce you.
I've heard you talk to him before. Talk about him before. So John and I made this thing called Bulletproof Muscle, which essentially we made to be the guide that anyone who wants to learn those lifts and how to do them and how to teach them and use.
so that if they want to incorporate those lifts into their gym, they can do that. So that's kind of what the Move It Fix is overall.
So
I
tell me
think-
about the podcast real quick. How
Yes.
long has that been going on for? And what do you guys talk about? What do you do there?
Yeah, so it's actually interesting. The podcast has morphed quite a bit. I've done 35, 36, maybe 37 episodes, somewhere in the mid 30s currently. And I used to do just hour-long conversations, like interviews like this.
Yeah.
And I've been testing different formats to connect with my listeners to provide them with interesting things. And
Can we do like a 3.5 hour one like Joe Rogan?
I don't do that, but they were some of them. Yeah, Joe Rogan's are extremely long, but I mean they're good.
They're great. He gets like.
But there's different lengths that people want though. Like what I found was for me, if I had to go listen to an hour and a half long podcast, like I'll do that because I'll be on an airplane and I'll listen. So I have like a 5-hour flight. I can easily do an hour and a half podcast. But a lot of people don't fly all the time. And so their average commute is like from their house to work, which may be 20 to 30 minutes.
Oh,
so I started
coming up on that now. Thanks. See you.
So, killing me. So I've actually been doing some interviews as well, like in the hour range, but I've been doing more. And this was actually an idea that was given to me by, I'll think of his name. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. But anyways, he told me you should do 15 or 20-minute episodes of just you talking on topics. So the last 10 episodes I've done are 15 to 20 minutes of me just sharing my thoughts on a specific topic, which has been strategically to consistently produce a podcast every week. It's been much easier and much more enjoyable because the scheduling can be, I mean, as you know, the scheduling can be very challenging. And anyways, so that's kind of what it is. And then now I'll do once in a while, maybe every 4 to 5 episodes, I'll do a longer 1 hour interview style.
I have to listen to you like brain dumping. I haven't got to hear any of your new episodes. So I'm definitely going to have to jump onto that because I can imagine, I can picture you.
Like radio show.
I can picture you now,
like
your eyeballs going in other directions like they are right now and stuff like that. Like you kind of just like look to the left, look to the right, and then anyway, and then like kind of throw in some of that. What was your most recent one on?
Oh, actually, you know what? I really actually kind of misspoke. The last 2 that I've done have been interviews, but we kept the interview at 20 minutes max. So I did one on my most recent one. I'm actually recording one after this, which is going to be on what I call the movement unicorn. Yeah, I'll give you a little preview of that. This is before I've even recorded it.
Oh man.
Okay. So let's say this. Let's say someone moves extremely well. They have they perform lifts well, but they have some sort of tightness in like their hip or their back or something.
Right.
If they already are moving well and they're doing everything correctly, they roll out to try to find this like mystery unicorn tight muscle they have to roll out when the problem was their training volume. Even if you perform lifts perfectly, if your volume is too high and your recovery is not where it needs to be, stuff's going to break down. And then you're looking for this unicorn stretch. You're looking for the unicorn exercise. You're looking for the unicorn muscle to roll out. It doesn't exist. It's just that your volume is too much and your recovery is subpar.
That can't be possible. That can't be possible because I did everything that was on the paper.
Right.
No,
anyways, that's what I call
I go through that. I go through that shit all the time, and it's literally shit. It drives me crazy. And certain people, without naming the people that I interact with commonly, because I would be throwing them under the bus. Like certain people drive me crazy because they're always like injured or sore to a certain degree, or they're always tired, or they're always like there's always something wrong, right? And it's so like you always want to look at this magical thing, like you call it the unicorn. I love it, right? But let me ask, how much are you drinking? How much are you sleeping? How much are you exercising, right? And so if you're exercising more, right? Yeah, exactly. If you're exercising more than you're sleeping and drinking and taking in like nutrition wise, then it doesn't matter. It's too much, and it's not a specific volume. It's what's adaptable to you, and that's the thing. Is
Right.
like, oh God,
It's not an absolute volume. It's not,
No.
because some people that are, let's say you're sleeping 5 hours a night, you're eating terribly, or you're eating too little. Like, some people are doing these like cuts. They're doing these like starvation things to try to, like, they're going these mass gains and then the cut down. If you're going to break down muscle from exercise, where do you think the materials come from that build it back up? Well, there's only one, my mouth.
Supplements, right?
Or the food, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not eating enough to support your level of exercise because you're trying to cut down or whatever, yeah, you're going to have issues no matter how good your squat is. And there's not going to be a mobility tool in the world that's going to change that. I mean, you can roll on a bruise all day long, but that doesn't make the bruise get better. You have to give it the ability to improve.
Right. No, I love it. I love that you say that, because with
too many people disregard that, right? Like, oh no, you got to do this stretch, you got to do this drill, you got to rest.
Yeah.
You have to recover.
Rest drives people crazy, especially in the CrossFit world. Because,
well, you know what? Yeah.
So with the emergence of all these competitive type trainings and stuff like that, people are paying absorbent fees to get this awesome training. And I'm not even saying that the training's bad. Some of it is perfect, and some of it is exactly what that person needs. But with the continuation of training, and without also, okay, so you're getting this perfect training, right? But are you getting the perfect diet? Are you getting the perfect rest? Are you getting the perfect recovery? Because if that's not part of that training program, it could be still the best training program in the world, and somehow you can end up with injury, right? And we see this all the time when people are approaching,
programmed, perfectly executed.
And we see it with everyone that ramps into the Open, right? How many injuries do you see during the Open? And it's just like, all right, well, you were doing one
purely
a day.
A volume issue.
You were doing 1 a days for the last year, and there was absolutely nothing wrong. You didn't trip down the stairs. You didn't do anything else, right? Work didn't change. Oh, what changed? Okay, I went from 1 workout a day, moderate to high intensity, to 2 workouts a day, and a conditioning. It's just like, okay, well.
Yeah, it's nuts. And what drives me? This is what's frustrating. Then those people will come seek your care, and then you tell them the legitimate answer of, you need time to recover. And then because they want a quick fix, then they'll go to another provider who tells them, oh yeah, you got the scar tissue we got to break down. Increases in volume that lead to an overuse problem is not because of the formation of some mystical scar tissue chunk that formed when your volume started suddenly increasing. And then they get they spend all this money, they get beat up, they get bruised for absolutely no reason, except there's an itch that they think they need to scratch. But it isn't even an itch. It's just like this open wound that needs time to heal, essentially. Yeah. Is this a rant?
I like it though. Do you know what I really like? The itch to scratch versus the open wound. That was I think that did it for me. That was it.
Well, I think I made a post about this recently on my Instagram. Actually, was people will roll out on a lacrosse ball in certain areas, thinking that it's a muscle, but it's actually like they're rolling out like over a nerve or something, so it's sensitive.
Yeah.
And pain when you're rolling out does not indicate that it's good.
Working. Right.
It could be good. It could be good. Maybe it couldn't be good. And what I said was this: I could poke my eyeball with my finger and it hurts. That doesn't mean it's a trigger point on my eyeball. It means I'm poking my eyeball and it hurts. That's all it means.
It's so right. So I was just working out in Kuwait like the last 6 weeks, right? And I was out there, and there's another practitioner is out there, and this person.
I loved your photos from Kuwait, by the way.
Did you like that? Did you?
Yeah.
I haven't even put up my good ones yet. I don't think. I got some nice ones.
It was the one of you and the like 5 other guys all.
I did put that one up. Yeah, that's right. You like that?
Yeah. I don't know what they call. What do they call that attire? What is it called?
Distasha. So
Got it. Yeah.
like that's like the robe. I always
Yeah. Yeah.
I always forget what the garment's called, but the robe looking thing is called a distasha. Like it's Dishdasha, I think. I think that's how it's spelled.
Put that in the show notes, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Um, shit, I forgot what I was gonna say now. Oh, you
You
killed
were
me.
talking about the other provider in Kuwait.
Oh, the other provider in Kuwait. So I had a patient come in, a CrossFit patient, and said that, listen, I'm gonna go back to the other provider because, I feel like I'm getting better results. I said, oh, that's unfortunate to hear. I'm sorry that I'm not doing it for you. I said, what exactly is this other person do? They said like, well, they just make it hurt so much more. And I was like, all right. I was like, um, I don't know if pain is an indication that you're getting the proper, treatment. Not saying that they're doing the wrong treatment, but obviously, you came here for a reason, right? You had this injury that's been going on for 6 months, and you've been getting treated, and this person is putting you through lots of pain. That's great. But you still came here.
Where do you think that comes from?
I don't know.
Why do you think
No
that's
idea.
become? Because when I have patients that don't exercise, like they're not into fitness,
Mm-hmm.
they don't think that is a good thing.
Right, and they come in and they're like, "You made me so sore." It's a.
Right,
I think
right,
it's like
right. And maybe it has to do with the fact of working out, and if you work out and it's sore, that's good. So if it hurts, and
I could give you this example. I'm not the best CrossFitter in the world, right? But I've done all right, okay, and I can always tell, right? I can always tell whether I will do all right in that open workout based upon how bad I feel. Like so, like if I put up a score and I think that it's like, oh man, I look at it and it's like it's still a decent score, like a top 100, top 50, top 25 score, and all the other scores aren't in yet. I'm like, yeah, but I didn't feel that bad. Like it hurt, like I hurt, but I still could have hurt a lot more. I'm like, that's not going to be a good score, right? And sure as shit, when everybody else's filters in, right, it's a bad score, right? So I end up going back knowing how bad I felt on like the first workout. Like I do open workouts twice every single time, right? I'm horrible.
one of those.
Yeah, exactly. But I go back like with that mental status of knowing what level of pain I've gotten to in the previous workout. So I can like, that's like my monitor of like, I know it has to hurt more than that. And that's the only thing that I could say, like in like.
But
in
that's like
and
that's a totally different, because that's like metabolic pain. That's exertion pain.
Yeah, but pain is still pain.
But that's
right?
probably where it stems from, I bet.
Yeah.
So just because it applies to exertion and metabolic pain doesn't mean that it necessarily is good for other things.
Right. I mean,
what I tell
it.
someone
you don't get needles, and you're not like, shit, man. I got a shot in my arm, right? Like a vaccination or something. You're like, hey, I don't think it worked. It didn't hurt enough. Like, you know what I mean? Like that needle in my arm was
why
really
that
supposed
applies.
to hurt. Could you like wiggle it around or something like that? Doc.
Yeah, can you do a worse job so that the shot hurts more?
Yeah.
You know what I tell people too is, okay, let's say you have irritated tissue. Like, let's say you raise your arm up overhead and it hurts. Does that mean that something's well, let's put it this way. If I took someone's arm that was a normal arm and I poke it, that shouldn't hurt. But if that arm has a bruise on it and you poke it, it's going to hurt just because it's sensitive, not because you're damaging anything, but because it's sensitive. Mm-hmm. So let's say someone has shoulder pain when they're lifting overhead. Well, just because you do that doesn't mean it's damaging your shoulder.
Right.
It just means maybe you're poking on sensitive tissue. And how do you make the bruise better? By continuing to poke on it or by giving it time to desensitize. I mean, how many times a day do you tell people that? I'm sure a lot. I mean, something along those lines.
Yeah, to a certain degree, absolutely.
Or scab picking is another way that it's described. Now, that's not to say, and and many people know this, that they, you roll out something and it feels better.
Right.
And sometimes it is that simple.
Sometimes it is.
But if you continue to do it and there's no improvement, that's a really good indication that maybe you're searching down the wrong or barking up the wrong tree.
I mean, that's exactly how, to tell you the truth, the reason why, I have this course that's called Why Mobility.
I
And
do know that. I
the
watched the promo video.
the reason why that course developed, it used to be just a squat course. That's all I did. I did a 6-hour squat seminar. And what was driving me crazy is everyone would come into the office and they'd say, listen, doc, my shoulder hurts or this hurts or that hurts, right? I've been mobilizing it for 3 months now, 2 months now, and it hurts. And I'm like, listen, even if I wasn't a doctor or an expert in what you're trying, what you're coming in here for, like common knowledge would say, if I was doing the same thing for 2 months and nothing changed, it might not be that thing, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's like one of the man, it's one of the things that you wish you could control more to a certain extent.
Well, and
right?
I think also it's important for people to know too that um, pain and mobility don't necessarily equate.
Of course not.
Let's say you had a sprained wrist. You had ligament damage of your wrist. It hurts when you move it more because now you're stressing those structures. You have to immobilize it for a period of time so that it can heal and regain integrity. So sometimes mobility is the worst thing you could do for an injury or pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that jumps into that whole chiropractic mobilization thing, right? Not throwing against the PT versus chiro here, right? We don't need to be throwing sticks and stones, but I think that's one of the major ideals that the newer generation of chiropractors differ in, right? Like the older
from the
generation,
older generation.
like, well,
It's such a new wave. It's such a different wave now of chiros. Like it's completely different. I mean, it's almost a different profession.
It almost is, and honestly, we could go into that conversation down that rabbit hole, but the end of the goal, the end statement is that in the past, the whole straight chiro thing was just like adjust, no matter what. It was adjustments, right? And I think that
Right.
we understand. I think as a profession, hopefully, we understand. Yet exactly what you said. It's like, to a certain degree, immobilization is not been efficient at healing things, but in certain cases, such as when there is integrity loss, listen, immobilization might be the best key. Like, so if you break your arm, no amount of rolling out
What are you
is
gonna
gonna is
You're
gonna
gonna try to stretch your fracture back open to make it heal. Like
yeah, So it's like knowing when to apply the element that you're trying to utilize to to improve that person's particular condition.
exactly. What I always say when I'm working with an athlete or a patient that comes to me, and they're like, oh, you practice so differently than the other chiropractors, and I go, well, I don't base it on the history of the profession. I think about it like this: if you went to a medical doctor, and no matter why you went to them, they gave you a shot of the same thing, whether you had a fracture, whether you had a serious illness, no matter what you came in for, we're going to give you an injection of the same thing.
It's like a B10
That's
shot,
the
right?
same.
B complex.
Right, yeah. No
Oh,
matter what. Right. Oh, you have an eye infection. Let me inject you with a B vitamin complex.
yeah.
Oh, you have a broken arm. That's no different than being like, oh, you have pain. Well, manipulation is the treatment of choice. Like it's just how could that be right?
Yeah, can't be. I'm sure the straights are rolling over in their bed though when I say that, or when you say that.
They're not listening to this.
No, they would not. Hey, so let's switch gears. Hypertrophy training, huh?
Yes.
So one of the things that I love that you talk about hypertrophy training, even like when we talked about it last time before it got deleted, because from the very beginning of when I was in CrossFit, back in I guess it'd be like 2012 or whatever, right? The best CrossFitters out there at that time, right? So that would be like in my region, it'd be like Danny Horan and Dan Tominski, and like this is like before what you call it, what's his face, Matt, even was on board there, right? He wasn't even there.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
some of those best guys, when you talk to them and you saw the way that they trained, they weren't training CrossFit, right? They were training strength and conditioning is what I would consider it, and they just happened to implement CrossFit into it, right? Like so they had their conditioning session, or they had a conditioning session, they had a skill session, they had a strength session, right? So when you talk about the loss of the ideals of foundational hypertrophy training, I love that, because I don't know if it's completely lost. I think it's lost to the amateur CrossFitter. I do not think it's lost to the elite CrossFitter.
Yeah, and most gyms, I would say 90% of gyms don't program it.
Right. No, yeah, to the general public, right?
Yeah. I
Because there's
mean,
not
the
enough
people who are
time.
high performers.
Yeah, there's
Well,
not enough time.
I think there is enough time.
You do.
I do. And so hear me out. And this is a model that I'm currently building. I'm building.
Go ahead.
You would say what? Okay.
No, go ahead.
First of all, I think in most gyms, at least that I look at a lot of gyms programming, there aren't a lot of gyms who do like 8-week or 12-week cycles where that first 30 minutes of the class is working in different rep ranges. So what I mean by that is, okay, do the warm up. Now we're going to do back squats. We're going to do 7x3. Okay. So you're working in the low rep range, strength, power. Okay. How come after 8 weeks of that, we don't start doing squats in that first 20-minute section of the class 5x12 and do that for 8 to 12 weeks? So you go warm up and prep, then you actually have for 12 weeks or 8 weeks, the rep ranges are in the 8 to 15 rep range. So now that you're deloading the joints by using lighter weight, and you're going to be stressing the muscle to grow, and then you do metabolic conditioning. Because if you try to do Olympic lifting and a power and Metcon all at the same time, yeah, you're right. There isn't enough time. But if you do 8-week or 12-week cycles where you're focusing on building up different physical characteristics and athletic attributes, then there's plenty of time. But I don't see a lot of people doing cycles.
No. Here's what I'm going to say is going to be your biggest challenge in that. And that is
people who go to CrossFit gyms don't want to do that. Is that what
no, it's not even that. It's that they're not there every day. Right? So the large majority of people that go in, they're only there like 2 days to 4 days a week, tops 2 to 4 days a week, right? So that means that, okay, so they go in Tuesday this week and they, whatever, something happened, they got late at work, so now they're Wednesday the next day or the next week, and like their whole cycle's off. So that only works if every day was a squat day. Like that was the strength for all 7 days.
No, but I think you could make the counter argument that that's no different than the same issue you'd run into doing it the way that it currently is.
Dude, I think the way that it currently is still shit, because you still run into the same problem. So what you're saying is right.
Exactly.
Like people are running strength programs, but the strength programs mean absolutely nothing because there's no consistency in it. It means something for 2 to 3 to maybe 5% of the gym that shows up Monday through Friday. Otherwise, a program means shit. Like it really does.
Yeah, because then people are like they're haphazardly training the strength movements,
exactly.
And then most people. Well, and I think because of CrossFit was founded as sort of like the anti-Globo gym.
Exactly.
The whole idea of doing hypertrophy training is like quote unquote not functional, so it's been totally disregarded. That's like such a good rep range to train in because you get that tension and what is hypertrophy?
Which one,
it's growth.
Which one do you like, 8 to 12?
8 to 15. Just the rep range of 8 to 15.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get tissue growth. And let's see, if I can make muscles bigger and I can make tendons bigger and I'm using lighter weight, so it's less joint load, that means that I'm not going to, for example, athlete has, and this is another unicorn thing. Oh, I always have back pain when I back squat. Okay. Well, tell me about your programming. Well, we're doing sets of 3s at, this percentage. Okay. Have you tried doing 8 to 10 weeks of back squats and just lower the weight down and do sets of 12? No. Okay. Well, why don't we try that? oh, it doesn't hurt at that weight. Well, maybe we just need to stop loading and compressing you so much and do cycles of training so that we deload and then reload and we're stressing in
Do
different
you know
rep
who
ranges.
Paul is? Paul Quinn? What's his
Oh, of
first name?
course.
James, right?
Charles.
Charles Paul Quinn. He talks about for every compressive, right? Every compressive exercise, every one, you're supposed to do 5 decompressive exercises. That's his whole thing.
Oh, I haven't studied his work. I mean, I've listened to him on
Some
Tim
of the stuff he
Ferriss.
says is fucking crazy out there, but I think that's an interesting thing.
That is interesting. I think that we just need to do more cycling where you're focusing and stressing different things throughout the year. And we get stuck in this, like, we're always going to do these 3 reps. We're always going to do 5 reps.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
No, I think
I
the same
also-
thing. I think the same thing has to happen with Olympic lifts too. You know, because we break down
Oh, yeah.
Olympic lifts
Yeah.
all the time. I think Olympic lifts are totally overutilized in CrossFit. Like
Highly overutilized.
highly
I think
overutilized for training. All right. So at the end of the day,
yeah.
you need to
Mhm.
know how to move a barbell. Period. Right. But your amount of Olympic lifting, it's tell me who the hell gives a shit that you can snatch 300 pounds? It's one event. It's one event in 11 or 14, right? So you're spending all this time, right, under these heavy loads and this skill movement. Like, listen, I see people snatching and clean jerking every day, and I'm not saying it's not impressive what they do, and it looks awesome on Instagram, but it doesn't make them cycle a barbell faster all day long. You know, it doesn't make their DT drop by a minute and a half because they're snatching. Like, you know, it's crazy, but that's what you see, right?
Mhm. Well,
So
I think it also depends what an athlete's goal is. Like if you're talking about a competitive athlete versus a non-competitive, like if someone's going to the gym just so they can feel good and look good, which I think is probably 99.9% of people.
well, they don't need to be snatching and jerking then either at all. Period.
Uh,
If you're going to the gym to look good, let's just be real. And I don't give a shit how many people chomp on me about this one because I love clean and jerks and I love snatches and I love to do all those things. And I might be hypocritical by saying this because I'm not a elite competitive athlete, but you do not need to do ballistic dynamic movements that bring weights of maximum or almost like, you know, like of just under maximal loads over your head if your goal is to look pretty. All right. Listen, you could do the same things. You can work the same groups. You can still do explosive maneuvers, do power cleans, whatever, do power snatches at a lighter weight if that has to be your goal. But grinding movements give you the same thing. That's the strict press. If it has to be like a push press, but I don't even think you need to do push press. Do a freaking strict press. Do handstand push-ups. If your goal is to look good. Rant over.
I think
Sorry.
it's a good rant. I think I don't think most people have really even identified their goals of why they go to the gym. I harp on that a lot. Why, people, they haven't thought about it because, like you said, if your goal is strictly to look good, then you're going to choose different things and you're going to be okay with different things.
Mm.
But to think that everyone in the world has to do snatching 3 days a week, I don't know.
Mm. I did an interview with Mike Bledsoe. It's one of my favorite ones that I've done. And he says like he's a big person on asking like why are you doing what you're doing, and that, he talks about that for like life in general, and he goes a lot of people like don't realize like if I like like CrossFitters come up to me all the time, and they'll ask me about this, that, the other thing, and I'll be like, well, why? Why are you doing that in the first place? And he goes, and just be careful because if you answer that question, the odds are you might quit, right? And it's a scary question, but he's like, if you actually want me to help you find out why, you might quit. Like the likelihood of you quitting is pretty up there.
Quit what?
Like quit doing CrossFit, quit doing functional fitness, right? Like he talks about, like he gets deeper into it. Obviously, you have to listen to it. I'm making it sound stupid, but it was highly intelligent the way he said it. He's talking about like crossfitting like competitively and crossfitting or any decision, like why are you in the gym sacrificing 3.5 hours a day? Like, like what is the actual purpose of it? What is your end goal? Like, what is all this stuff? Man, at the end of the day, I was like, shit, I don't even know why the hell I'm doing WODdoc. But he's a smart guy. He's an interesting
Yeah.
guy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I met him at the games this year, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool. He's a deep guy.
He is deep, man. Yeah, he told me about
Yeah,
his
when you
ayahuasca event. He said that brings you to ayahuasca. Ayahuasca.
I don't know.
It's the thing that people go down in South America for. It's this big. Joe Rogan talks about it all the time. Ayahuasca.
Got it.
Ayahuasca. Am I saying it right now?
I'm not familiar. I don't know. I'm not familiar with it.
I gotta find your drugs out a little bit more.
Anyways, what we're definitely not saying is people shouldn't be going to the gym and working out. I mean, why would you not want to like explore your own motivations for doing things though? I mean, that's only empowering.
Oh, of course. I think what I'm saying is not no, don't go to the gym at all. It's more about identifying the why, right? Is identifying.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If physical empowerment is what is a byproduct of you finding that out, maybe it's just self-exploration. Maybe you need to be at the gym just to have that deep thought to help to find your way, right? It's not always about the end product. A lot of times it's about the journey as well.
Yeah, maybe the struggle of working through that stuff is very empowering.
Yeah. I don't know. If I had all the answers, I'd write a cool book or something like that. But I'm still working on it.
On the book or getting the answers?
Both. Back to hypertrophy training.
Yes.
8 to 12 reps. Cap it
Well,
off.
I mean, maybe up to 15, maybe up to 20.
Why do I say 8 to 12, 8 to 15? Now, people do 20 reps all the time. 20 rep, what's it called? By the freaking way. Do you follow Maddie Rogers? The Olympic lifter?
Probably. No, I know who she is. Yeah.
Dude, she
I
put
see
up
her
a thing.
posts.
She put a thing up the other day. She obviously does hypertrophy training. That's why this whole thing came into. She was doing sets of 10, right? You know that girl's front squatting sets of 10?
How much?
297. I want to double check that on my phone real quick.
297.
Front squat set of 10. I'm going to double check it. You could just talk for a second and fill us in. But
Okay.
I just want to make sure that I'm not...
It is interesting how many people who train. This is where there's a big disconnect. Olympic lifters who are very, very high level, they're not just doing a bunch of Olympic lifting.
Right.
They're doing accessory training. They're doing training. And training, of course, they're going to be actually doing the clean and jerk and the snatch, but they're also working in different rep ranges. They're doing, horizontal pulling. They're doing upper back training. They're not just trying to do singles over and over and over again. That'd be like training for the 100-meter dash, and all you're going to do is try to continue running the 100-meter dash.
Right. But no, they all.
Are you finding?
I'm looking right now. I'm like
enjoying her posts.
No,
no.
I don't realize like how long she posts like freaking 1,000 posts. As soon as I find it, I'll let you know. I promise. 301. I don't know. I'm making this.
Point
the
is,
point is
a
lot. That's the point.
Yeah, that is a good point. That is a lot, and the fact that she's training in that rep range. I don't know why you say 8 to 12.
I don't know. I guess I don't like 15.
Why?
I guess 12 is like this magical number thing that I just happen to like.
Well, I've been training on John's program, his functional hypertrophy training.
John
Russin. So he has like a 12-week hypertrophy training program.
I want to look at that. Could you send me that?
It's been really
notes.
Yeah, I'll send you a link. So it's been really interesting going through it. I've never really followed someone else's full 12-week program, like verbatim.
Mm-hmm.
it's been really an interesting learning experience. Like I used to do I used to do just hypertrophy training, like when I was in my early 20s. Like that's what I did before CrossFit. And but I never really followed a structured program. You know, it'd be like, oh, I'm going to do a couple bench movements. I'm going to do a couple like arm things, you know. But to follow someone else's structured program has been it's been a great experience. Actually, I've learned a lot about
So you've been doing
program.
hypertrophy training now?
Yes. Oh, yeah. For the last 20 weeks.
I might have messed this up a little bit. I can only find one, but it's not bad.
Okay.
It's not horribly bad. Like as far as me messing it up, 5
Okay.
sets of 8 at 286. That's what I found.
That's extremely impressive.
That's I don't know if I could do 5 sets of 8 at 286.
Oh, that is, yeah.
I don't know if I could do like
I'm sure
one set of 8.
most
One set.
most
of
people
8.
listening probably can't do that.
I think
That's a
5
lot.
sets of 8 for a back squat at 286 would still be a lot.
That would still be a lot.
You know, like it's not like you'd be like, all right,
Just
let me
for
warm up
mere
for that.
mortals, like mere mortals like us. You know.
Hey, so you're coming to the East Coast, right?
I am in 2.5 weeks. I'm going to Boston.
Where are you going to
Well,
Boston?
outside of Boston, Weymouth, I think is how you pronounce it. It's south,
Yeah.
slightly.
Is it WY? Is it a WY word?
WEYMOUTH, I believe. So I'm teaching there November 5th, Saturday,
doing
November
your
5th, my
seminar?
workshop. Yes, the Move It Fix workshop. And then
What's the
on
gym?
November, it is CrossFit 781.
Okay.
And then the next day, which is Sunday, November 6th, I am teaching in Darien, Connecticut
Okay.
at Dynamic Athletics. Or CrossFit. It's a CrossFit affiliate as well, but I think they just call themselves Dynamic Athletics. So, yep, I'm headed over to the East Coast.
Are there still spots there?
There are still spots.
Could I get one? No. I mean, yeah, maybe I could get one if you're around.
How far is that from where you are?
A couple hours, but I drive up there just to hang out.
Where are you right now? Where are you located?
I'm in Pennsylvania at my parents'. Is that I'm at my parents at this very second, but I'm in New York.
You're in New York City, right?
Yeah.
I was just there 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
But you were in Kuwait.
I was in Kuwait then, yeah.
Yeah, I ran a half marathon.
Oh, which one? Brooklyn? Was that what?
Brooklyn half.
Yeah, Brooklyn.
The Brooklyn half. Yeah. Man, you know what I realized? I am slow.
Really? You're a big
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
How long did it take you?
I'm not. A long time. What's interesting is 4 weeks out, I began, I believe, self-diagnosed to have a stress fracture of my foot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't run for 4 weeks before the half marathon. I just did like an hour on the Airdyne bike, like twice a week.
Yeah, that doesn't cut it.
No, it doesn't cut it. So at mile 9, I was just like hit a wall and I started cramping everywhere. Like my leg, like I was just seizing up.
I did that when I ran a full marathon. I did it at like mile. I thought like everyone tells you that you hit the wall at 18. And I made it through 18. I think I was at like 22, going on 23, like almost 23. It took me like an hour to finish the last 3 miles. I was at like a 3:35, 3:40 pace, give or take. And
wow, that's fast.
Yeah. Well, I trained for a long time for it.
What is that? 8 minute, 8.5?
It's something like an 8:40, I think.
Yeah, that's wow. I didn't realize you ran that much.
I don't. I just did it when I turned 30. I was kind of like this, like, oh, I'm gonna run a marathon thing.
Yeah. Which one did you do? Where'd you do it?
I did Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard that one's good.
Yeah, it's not horrible. There was a bunch of things, but in any case, everyone's like, oh, you went out too fast, this and that. I was like, no, I went out with a fucking plan, and everything was all right. And what I didn't do right, and what I was horrible at, and this is like nutrition, back to nutrition, right? Yes. I felt so good like the first half and everything like that. I think I ran like a 137 for half, right?
Jeez.
Like I felt awesome. And like I was still running
That's
through, and
fast for a muscular male such as yourself.
well, I was like probably like 10, 12 pounds lighter at least. I'll send you a picture.
Okay.
But in any case,
Yeah.
I just felt great. And then, so I wasn't like stopping at the rest stops. I wasn't taking the nutrition I needed to take. Like I wasn't taking enough goos. I wasn't, and then all of a sudden electrolyte balance got all out of whack. And I remember like my sweat was like coming down like off my eyebrow. And I like reached
Uh-huh.
up like to kind of like flick it off, and like my bicep cramped, and it was like I was like in fucking Demolition Man, like like when like Wesley
Your
Snipes.
your biceps cramped.
Yeah, like my bicep cramped just by lifting up my arm like that extra bit, and then
Yeah.
I went to like push my arm back down, and my
And you're like,
tricep cramped.
ah,
I was like,
ah.
and then I broke stride. And as soon as I broke stride, it was done.
Oh yeah. As soon as you break that, you're just toast.
It wasn't happening.
It gave me a lot of respect for endurance athletes.
Oh man,
Like
so good.
Chris Johnson, my friend Chris Johnson. I asked him what his fastest marathon time was. You know what he said?
What?
He said, I don't know, because the only time I've ever run a marathon was at the end of an Ironman. It's like, what?
Yeah.
The only time he ran a marathon was after swimming the 2 miles and biking the 110, and he was running at like a 6-minute pace.
That's so sick, isn't it? I want to run an Ironman when I turn 40.
Full length.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like, so I did
Yeah, that's
30, what it's called.
I mean, you think about the energy systems involved, like at 9, 10, 11, 12 hours.
Yeah.
A
So
little different than a 210 Fran or whatever, huh?
yeah, it's not gonna work. Well, I mean, it will work, but like I won't be able to do CrossFit. I'll have to like. I'll
You
have
just
to,
can't. I mean, the time domain's off. You
yeah,
have to train in that long time domain. You just have to.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually
Well,
enjoy long
70%
swims.
picks that.
To tell you the truth, when I
Right.
trained for a marathon, the ones I liked the most was like those 12 to 16 mile runs. Like I like those the most because it's just kind of like you kind of just zone out. Like you're kind of like it's like it's a very it's a very like deep point in like in your mind. Like you can
Yeah, it's such a different thing than going fast, going hard, and it's actually something I think people should explore. If they're, it's like one of those things that's sort of a human experience to run over 10 miles in a row.
yes, yes.
You know what I mean? Like something that people don't do that these days.
Right. Never
Back
since
in the day, I mean,
ever since the invention of the car, there was no need to.
right? Yeah, I would never have done a half though. My wife, she convinced me to do it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I will do another one for sure. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a good time.
I'm glad that
As
you
I
did.
was training hypertrophy training and trying to run a half marathon, that was interesting.
Yeah, that's nice. All right, so listen, so you're coming the end of the week or the end of next week, right? Connecticut and Boston.
2.5 weeks. 2.5 weeks. Yep, Darien, Connecticut, and Boston.
Where do people find out more about it?
themovementfix.com/workshops.
Or just look for
And so-
lime green thumbnails.
Look for the lime green thumbnails, and then the as most workshops have, there's like an early bird deadline, where you get like a better deal and you get all that stuff. So that ends actually this weekend, which would be, I guess, October 20. Hold on, pull up my calendar here. What is it? Like the 22nd, 23rd, whatever that is. This weekend. So if people are listening and they want to check that out, and you want to get the best deal, make sure to beat that deadline.
Cool. One thing while we're on that, so if anybody's looking to do a seminar, right? Like, and they're obviously can't go to the ones that you have up there. Do you have how do people contact you for hosting and stuff like that?
Yeah, so if you go to that same page and then you see the listing of all the dates and locations, right underneath that is a thing that says, if you want to host one here, click this button, and it just takes you to a form that you can fill out on the site that sends to me the inquiry, and then we'll follow up on that.
Cool. It sounds awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're doing them. I'm scheduling out 2017 right now. So if you're a listener who's in a different city than where I'm going and you'd like to do one, let's do it. 2017.
Awesome. All right, cool. Because that's always a question that comes in of how do we find out more information, and what happens if I can't make it to those seminars? And you answer both of those, so that's great. All right, so I don't want to take up too much more because we definitely hit our hour, like we always do.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna run. I'm gonna allow you to run. Go do like your 10 minutes of talking into the microphone by yourself while you're looking in different directions about unicorns, right?
Yep. That's that. I'm gonna record it right after this. Well, I might go eat a little snack, drink a little white wine, and then do it.
Great.
Maybe I'll get a lemonade vodka.
It's
It'll be
charcoal lemonade
a
vodka.
charcoal lemonade vodka, and the story about the unicorns will get pretty wild.
Great.
If that's the case.
Awesome. All right. Well, I just want to thank you for coming on. Thank you for everything because I screwed up the first one, and hopefully we can do this again for an actual second time. But we'll see what goes on. I don't know if I'll like you next week.
Well, I hope you like me next week, and I'd be happy to come on. Maybe I'll have you on.
Ooh, that'd be awesome. That'd be really nice, especially since you didn't say that the first time. So that must have meant that I wasn't good enough then.
That's why it got deleted. Well, because I had no. I was waiting until you posted it, and then I was gonna send you this beautiful handwritten card in the mail, engraved with gold.
Well, this one will be posted. This one will be posted tomorrow. So tomorrow.
Check your mailbox.
Check your mailbox.
Check your mailbox.
All right. Ryan, thank you so much. And until next time.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Cool.